Recently, there have been a number of reports of pyramids, huge great pyramids in Antarctica. They jut out of the ice and snow and they look perfect, just like those in Egypt.
The Arctic is a vast, mysterious place, full of secrets waiting to be uncovered.
The Arctic is an incredibly special habitat for so many species.
But what happens when even the experts can't explain what's happening? These drone shots reveal something so strange, it's left scientists confused, and you'll have to see it to believe it. 1. The Great Arctic Pyramids. In 2016, satellite imagery captured something unbelievable deep in the icy mountains. A cluster of peaks that bear an uncanny resemblance to pyramids. The one that caught the most attention is a sharp, triangular peak, black and snow-covered, with steep faces that mirror the Great Pyramid of Giza. The second they saw it, the possibility of ancient pyramids hidden beneath the ice popped up. These just looked far too familiar to be something else. Some researchers think these are nunataks, rocky peaks that protrude through the surrounding ice sheets, shaped by millions of years of erosion and glaciation. But others think that the resemblance to the pyramids we've known and studied is just too strong. There is research being done on these, but chances are humans might have had an icy history too, one that we totally skipped out on. 2. Thousands of walruses. There was a time when seeing one walrus out in the wild was big news. But today, things look very different. 3,000 of these walruses were caught on a drone camera, gathered up together on a relatively small patch of ice. They're participating in something called a haulout, where a large number of these can come out to rest up together. This isn't just a resting state, though. They have to gather so they can reproduce and socialize as well. The main reason for these massive gatherings is the loss of sea ice because of climate change. Walruses typically rely on sea ice as a resting platform between feeding dives. But as sea ice diminishes, especially in late summer and early fall, walruses are forced to come ashore in large groups. Coastal areas of Alaska, Russia, and other Arctic regions have seen gatherings of tens of thousands of walrus crowded together on beaches. These haulouts can pose serious risks to the walruses, such as trampling events, where the animals might end up panicking and stampede. This can be a risk for not just the adults, but the young too. Yet, they keep on doing it anyway. 3. Arctic ice loss. Until a few years ago, the Arctic was a massive sheet of ice. Unbreakable, you could just walk all over it, and it would be fine. Today, it's just water, with bits and pieces of ice. The rate at which Arctic ice is melting has been faster than many climate models predicted. This rapid decline suggests that some feedback mechanisms, like albedo changes, where less ice means more heat absorption by darker ocean water, might be a lot more potent than anyone could have thought. Why these feedback loops are accelerating so quickly and how they interact with each other is still not entirely clear. There is also evidence that melting is not only occurring at the ice surface, but also underneath the ice, driven by warmer water temperatures. The extent of this subsurface melting and its impact on overall ice loss is still being researched. These processes are difficult to monitor, making the confusion around all of this even worse. 4. Zombie fires. Fire and ice aren't supposed to go together, but in this case, they have been. A drone flying over this fully snowed area in the Arctic found a fire that's been burning through the seasons. At first, the drone operator was fully confused about what this was. He'd never seen anything like it. But then, it all started to make sense. This is a zombie fire. They can burn underground through the winter months and then reignite on the surface in the spring. The ability of these fires to persist underground, sometimes for months, in harsh Arctic conditions is insane. Normally, the cold temperatures, snow and ice would be expected to extinguish any lingering flames, but zombie fires manage to survive, coming back every time. 5. Iceberg flips upside down. If you've seen the Titanic, you'd think that an iceberg is this unbreakable, unmovable force that just stands there, still in the water no matter what happens, but it turns out that's not true. Sometimes, icebergs can completely flip over in a matter of seconds and act like they've been like that their entire existence. Icebergs flip when their center of gravity shifts. As icebergs melt unevenly, the bottom might become lighter than the top, changing their center of gravity and causing the entire structure to flip. The thing is, the exact moment and reason why an iceberg decides to flip is something no one is able to accurately predict. These structures might not be alive in the traditional sense, but they definitely have a mind of their own. 6. Rectangular iceberg. Icebergs rule the Arctic, and their main feature is their jaggedy, uneven look. If you see one from a mile away, you'd be able to identify it, but sometimes icebergs take on a completely different form. This camera captured footage of an iceberg that instantly caught everyone's eye. It's the A68 iceberg, which calved from the Larsen C ice shelf in Antarctica in July 2017. A68 is one of the largest icebergs ever recorded, measuring around 2,240 square miles when it first broke off. Its sheer size is staggering, comparable to the area of Delaware, or about 4 times the size of London. With how massive it was when it first broke off, it made it even crazier to see that the entire iceberg was a perfect rectangle. 7. Upside down. Ocean. We're all used to the ocean being one specific way, but the Earth is full of surprises, and one of them is the upside-down ocean, deep within the Arctic. In the Arctic, large amounts of fresh water are introduced into the ocean through melting sea ice, glacial runoff, and river discharge. This fresh water is less dense than the salty ocean water, so it forms a layer on top. Unlike typical ocean layering, where colder, denser water is at the bottom and warmer, lighter water is on top, the Arctic sees a reversed situation because of the freshwater input. With that, we've got the upside-down ocean that you don't normally see anywhere else in the world. 8. Aurora Lights. People travel to all corners of the world to get a glimpse of the Aurora Lights. Auroras display a range of colors, including green, pink, red, yellow, blue, and violet. These colors are produced by different gases in the Earth's atmosphere, mainly oxygen and nitrogen, stimulated by particles from the sun. Despite significant research, there are still aspects of auroras that scientists can't fully explain. They're still studying the detailed mechanisms of how solar particles are accelerated and channeled into the Earth's atmosphere, and how this affects the precise shapes and movements of auroras. To us, they look beautiful and majestic. To them, they're one of the biggest mysteries of the Earth. The Arctic has a lot going on, but there's even more happening on the other side, in Antarctica. 9. New strange life forms. On February 15, 2021, scientists from the British Antarctic Survey ended up discovering something else while they were looking for sediment. They found life buried under 2,860 feet of ice in Antarctica's Filchner-Ronne ice shelf. Such extreme environments weren't supposed to be able to house life at all. The researchers were drilling to collect samples from the sea floor when they unexpectedly came across a boulder covered with previously unknown stationary animals, including sponges and other creatures. This area, located about 160 miles from the open sea, is one of Earth's least known habitats. No one knows how these animals survived in such harsh conditions and what they are eating the entire time they've been down there. All that's known right now is that they exist here and somehow always have. 10. Blood Falls. Discovered in 1911, this glacier features a vivid red-orange stream of water flowing from a fissure resembling blood, which is why its name is the Blood Falls. The color comes from iron oxide, or rust, which stains the ice and water as it comes out to the surface. This red water originates from a subglacial lake, isolated for millions of years, rich in iron and other minerals. The discovery of Blood Falls has brought us one step closer to learning more about microorganisms that thrive in extreme environments and how life might exist in similar conditions elsewhere. Like on Mars, the drone footage takes us closer to this unique feature of the Earth than ever before. Drones have been incredibly helpful to get the ball rolling on these discoveries, but they're also very helpful for other discoveries too. 11. Boyfriend discovers girlfriend cheating through drone. Women's intuition has always gotten praise, but men aren't that far behind on the intuition train either. This man had a feeling his girlfriend wasn't being faithful. He just felt like something was wrong, but when he asked her about it, she always deflected. Sick of the feeling, the man decided to just follow her with his drone and ended up catching her cheating on him in a car with another man. 12. Eagle versus drone. Eagles are one of the fastest, sharpest predators of all time. They set their eyes on their prey way before they ever actually get out there and make their move. This drone operator thought they were about to get a great video of the view, but got something far crazier, a video of the drone being smacked right out of the sky. This is as close as you can get to a prey POV. 13. Stonehenge crop circles. Most of us know Stonehenge for being incredibly confusing because of how they're structured and how massive they are. No one really understands why they're there or how they were even created in the first place. But that's not where the mysteries of this area end. Drones have captured something unexpected in this area. Crop circles. They first appeared in the late 20th century and have been confusing researchers ever since. Some believe they are created by extraterrestrial beings or unexplained supernatural forces, but others think that this is just an elaborate prank by humans that has been going on for decades. 14. Great white shark and surfers hanging out. Great whites are generally solitary and avoid crowded areas. They prefer deeper waters and can be sensitive to disturbances in their environment. That's why it was so shocking when this great white shark was found just hanging out with humans. The surfers are just doing their thing, while the shark is swimming in the waters next to them. While great whites aren't particularly looking for humans to attack, they will if they feel like it, yet this one's as far away from threatening as one can get. 15. Accidental man vs. mountain. Drones have gotten smaller, and with that, drone selfies are all the rage. Everyone who can even remotely fly a drone can set it on a selfie mode, and it does all the work for you. But that doesn't mean you don't have to be aware of your surroundings. This man almost found that out the hard way. If he'd taken a tumble, this drone selfie would have turned out a lot differently. 16. Drone and Russian jet. There are times we hear about jets from one country invading the airspace of another, but it's all usually just news. You'd hardly ever see any of it in action. That's partly because this type of action is hard to capture on camera. and no one's out there whipping out their phones to film the action when it's happening either. Yet, a US drone was able to get a really good video of a Russian jet actually making contact. The jet is a MQ-9 Reaper with a wingspan of 60 feet. And the reason why it looks so crazy is that it was letting out fuel so it could descend slowly. Even then, it makes for one of the most interesting videos ever caught in the atmosphere. 17. Drone no match for Volcano. One of the things that makes drones so great is the fact that they can easily go where humans can't. We've been studying volcanoes for decades, but a person can only get so close to one of them. The risk is always there with one of these, even if it's not an active volcano. This drone, however, ended up volunteering as tribute, as it made its way over to give us a very close look at what it's really like to be face-to-face with one of these. Even though this camera is completely in the air, it was no match for the Volcano. When it got too close, it ended up giving up when it overheated. The camera was still running, so it ended up capturing footage of its final moments. 18. Woman found with thermal drone. Drones have been used in recon for years, but that's mostly been for military purposes. Different agencies are now catching up to the technology, and they're making full use of it. Drones with thermal cameras attached to them are being used on search operations for missing people. This woman was reported missing in the middle of the night. She'd lost consciousness while on a walk, and there's no telling when she would have woken up on her own. A manual search with search parties and torches would have taken a couple of hours to scour the area. However, since the local police had access to thermal drones, they were able to locate the woman within seconds of liftoff. 19. The Great Blue Hole. In 1971, oceanographer Jacques Cousteau and his team discovered the Great Blue Hole while exploring the Belize Barrier Reef. They'd seen it through blurry satellite images and wanted to get a look for themselves, but they weren't prepared for what they were about to see. The hole formed during the last ice age, around 150,000 years ago, when sea levels were much lower. It began as a limestone cave system, which subsequently collapsed and was filled with water as sea levels rose. This unique formation measures approximately 1,000 feet in diameter and around 400 feet deep, making it one of the deepest ones on Earth. Underwater life thrives here, but until drones came into the picture, we weren't able to get a good look at this unique formation. With them, we can finally see this beast in its full glory. 20. Robbery suspect, followed by drone. Not all drone discoveries are scientific. Some of them are also shocking for other reasons. In Brookhaven, Georgia, drone technology played a crucial role in capturing 2 suspects wanted for a violent armed robbery. On May 24, 2022, Brookhaven police used their drone first responder unit to track down Alton Johnson and Shaquan Collins after a license plate reader identified their vehicle near a CVS on Buford Highway. While Johnson was apprehended at the scene, Collins fled into nearby woods. The drone unit, deployed to assist, guided officers to Collins, who was eventually captured in a stormwater basin. Had there been a manual search, he might have succeeded in hiding out just long enough that the police would move on to a different area. But the opposite ended up happening. Little did he know that it wouldn't be an officer on foot, but a camera in the air that would take him down. 21. Marijuana farm found. An unmanned drone was gathering information about the city of Ravenna, northeast Italy, after a lot of the area had been destroyed. While doing so, the drone operator realized that they'd stumbled on a crime scene. It was a whole marijuana farm, one that the authorities knew nothing about until this video got to them. Farming marijuana is illegal in this part of the world, and the sheer size of it shows that the operation had been going on for a really long time. They would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for the authorities and their meddling drones. 22. Crocodile attacks drones. Crocodiles aren't the most friendly creatures, but they most definitely like their space. These guys can go from 0 to 100 in a snap if they get annoyed by you. That's why most people just film them from afar, because no one wants to lose a leg out here. But thankfully, drones don't have any legs to begin with. Otherwise, this attack would have done some serious damage. 23. Long-lost plane. Normally, a plane would be in the sky, but this drone shows video of a plane skillfully parked in the middle of a forest, all on its own. It serves as a home for Bruce Campbell, who's now 74 years old. He's transformed a Boeing 727 into a home in an Oregon forest. For over 2 decades, this retired electrical engineer and aviation fan has lived in the plane, which he bought for $100,000 in 1999. After transporting the aircraft from Greece to Hillsborough Airport, he had the wings and tail removed for relocation to his 10-acre property. He's turned it into a fully functioning home, and the project cost around $220,000. Now, his monthly expenses are low, under $400 for property taxes and electricity, so he's basically just living in first class for economy money. 24. Doorway to Hell. Officially known as the Darvaza crater, the Turkmenistan Doorway to Hell has been burning continuously for over 50 years, and it doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon. The crater was created in 1960 when Soviet geologists accidentally drilled into a natural gas pocket, causing a collapse. To prevent toxic gas release, they ignited the crater, expecting it to burn out quickly. Instead, it has remained lit ever since, measuring around 70 meters in diameter and 20 meters deep. To this day, when you look at it from the sky, it looks like a literal doorway to hell, and it might burn like this forever. 25. Angry kangaroo. Kangaroos have always had the image of being these cute, sweet animals, and while they can be like that when they're mere Joes, when they grow up, they're like roided-up gym bros, waiting to catch their next victim. Unfortunately for this drone, it ended up being the victim of this kangaroo. She had a joey in her pouch, and she wasn't taking any chances. So she chased this drone down and smacked it right into the field. Didn't even care to take a second glance at the drone afterwards. She just hopped away like it was no big deal. 26. Pink Lake. Lake Hillier, located on Middle Island in Western Australia, is known for its striking pink color. Spanning about 600 meters in length, this lake's vivid pink hue is a sight you can't help but stare at, especially when it's next to the surrounding green vegetation and blue ocean. The color, which stays consistent even when the water is removed and examined in a lab, is primarily attributed to the presence of the microalga Dunaliella salina, which produces a red pigment. However, the exact reasons behind the lake's persistent vivid color remain partially unexplained. While Dunaliella salina is known to produce pink hues, the intensity of Lake Hillier's color and its stability under various conditions are not fully understood. Scientists are still investigating the specific combination of factors, including microbial activity and unique environmental conditions, that contribute to this mysterious, unchanging pink lake. 27. Rishar Structure. The Rishar Structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara, is a colossal geological formation in Mauritania, spanning about 25 miles in diameter. This circular formation is known for its concentric rings, which are clearly visible from space. No one really knows the exact origins of the Rishar Structure. Initially thought to be the result of an impact crater, recent studies suggest there is no crater history here, so this is something entirely different. We just don't know what it is. 28. Dog found. A couple's dog went missing after it ran out of their home and got hit by a car. The sheer fear had it running for hours before it stopped, but because it was a heavily wooded area, no one could tell where it went. After hours of manual search, a drone camera was able to fly over the bushed area, and the dog was finally reunited with its owners. It ended up needing surgeries for the injuries it sustained, but ended up being A-OK overall. 29. Bear Dog Extravaganza. Not all dogs just sit around and wait for their owners to find them. They just make friends instead. This husky decided to embrace its wild side and made friends with the local bears. The bears seemed totally unbothered by its existence. The dog parents might just have to adopt 4 bears. 30. Lost Tribe found. In 2018, Brazil's National Indian Foundation used drone technology to discover an uncontacted tribe deep in the Amazon rainforest, near the Peru border. This was the first documented sighting of this isolated tribe. Drone footage captured during an expedition in the Vale do Javari region revealed a clearing with several thatched structures and around 16 people, including women and children. Some of them were seen carrying a spear or bows and arrows. Upon the drone's return, only the men remained, painted with red and black body paint, and appeared to shoot arrows at the drone, signaling their fear of contact with outsiders. They want nothing to do with the drones and flying cameras, but they've brought us insights into so many things that would have otherwise stayed hidden. So are drones actually helpful, or should these things just remain hidden, away from the public eye?